The red carpet of a major Hollywood premiere is often viewed as a modern-day fairy tale kingdom, a heavily guarded fortress of perfect lighting, meticulously orchestrated poses, and seemingly flawless human beings. For decades, the public has consumed these images as the gold standard of beauty, looking at the screen or the glossy pages of a magazine with a mixture of awe and a quiet, creeping sense of personal inadequacy. We see glamorous icons gliding past flashing cameras without a single blemish, a visible pore, or a hint of texture on their skin, creating an illusion that they belong to an entirely different species. This carefully manufactured perfection is no accident. It is the result of an entire army of stylists, lighting experts, and post-production digital artists working around the clock to erase any trace of ordinary human biology. The world watches, mesmerized by the spectacle, rarely stopping to question the reality behind the magic trick or the psychological toll that these unattainable standards exact on everyday people. Over time, this collective conditioning has made us forget what real skin, real bodies, and real texture actually look like under the harsh glare of reality. We have become so accustomed to the smooth, airbrushed digital canvases presented to us by the media that any departure from this artificial norm feels almost shocking, a rare glitch in a matrix designed to sell us an impossible dream. Yet beneath the layers of high-fashion garments and professional cosmetics lies the exact same canvas that every single human being possesses. The fascination with this world only grows deeper as the digital age accelerates, forcing us into a paradox where we crave authenticity but are constantly fed a diet of flawless fabrications. It sets the stage for a silent cultural confrontation, a moment where the curtain is pulled back just enough to reveal the human being beneath the icon, shifting our perspective entirely. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and explore the fascinating truths behind Hollywood's biggest moments as they happen, make sure to become a subscriber and join our community for more deep dives into the stories shaping our cultural landscape today. To truly understand how we arrived at this tipping point, one must look at the evolution of celebrity culture and the intense pressure cooker that is the modern press tour. When a highly anticipated blockbuster film prepares to hit theaters, the promotional campaign becomes a massive, global theatrical performance in its own right, spanning multiple continents and demanding a non-stop parade of show-stopping visual statements. The actors are no longer just performers promoting a cinematic project. They become walking works of art, living manifestations of the film's themes and aesthetic energy. Every single appearance is calculated to generate headlines, spark viral social media conversations, and capture the imagination of millions of onlookers who dissect every thread, seam, and accessory from their screens at home. The sheer scale of these events creates an environment where the tiniest detail is magnified 1,000 times over, turning a simple walk down a carpet into a high-stakes cultural event. Photographers line the barriers, shouting names and snapping thousands of high-resolution images per second, capturing every angle under unforgiving flashbulbs. In the past, these images would be thoroughly vetted, filtered, and smoothed out before ever reaching the public eye, ensuring that the myth of celebrity perfection remained completely intact. But in our contemporary media landscape, the speed of information has changed the rules of engagement entirely, allowing raw, unfiltered moments to slip through the cracks of the Hollywood machinery. This creates an unpredictable dynamic where the public is suddenly granted access to a raw visual truth that was never intended to be the main focus of the evening, yet somehow becomes the most profound talking point of all. The atmosphere at these premieres is electric, filled with a palpable sense of anticipation as fans and fashion critics alike wait for hours just to catch a glimpse of the arrivals. The architecture of the venue, the velvet ropes, and the blinding lights all serve to elevate the attendees into larger-than-life figures, reinforcing the divide between the stars and the ordinary crowd watching from afar. This elaborate theater is designed to project an aura of supreme, effortless elegance, making it easy to forget that the individuals walking the carpet are subject to the same physical realities as anyone else. They experience the same fatigue, the same physical strain of standing in uncomfortable clothing for hours, and the same natural variations in skin and texture that come with being alive. Yet, the industry demands that they hide these human elements behind a mask of pristine glamour, creating a profound disconnect between the lived experience of the celebrity and the hyper-polished image projected to the world. It is within this tense space between illusion and reality that a single unedited photograph can take on a life of its own. transforming from a simple red carpet snapshot into a powerful catalyst for a global conversation about self-acceptance and beauty standards. The public is increasingly growing weary of the digital perfection that has dominated their feeds for years, leading to a quiet rebellion where the unpolished, the raw, and the genuine are celebrated as the ultimate forms of beauty. When an iconic figure steps out into this environment, the expectations are astronomically high, especially if they have established a reputation for pushing the boundaries of contemporary style. Every choice is scrutinized, from the historical references embedded in the garments to the architectural engineering of the footwear, creating a complex web of cultural meanings that enthusiasts love to untangle. The sheer artistry involved in constructing these looks is undeniable, drawing on the talents of visionary designers who view the human body as a canvas for avant-garde expression. But as these garments become more complex and daring, the contrast between the artificial structures of fashion and the natural form of the human body becomes even more pronounced. The viewer's eye is drawn not just to the fabric and the form, but to the point of contact where the high-fashion creation meets the living, breathing person wearing it. It is precisely at this intersection where the magic of Hollywood begins to merge with the reality of human existence, setting up a fascinating narrative that goes far beyond the surface level of style and glamour. As the cameras flash and the images begin to flood the internet in real time, a subtle shift occurs, shifting the collective gaze away from the spectacle of the outfit itself and toward a much deeper, more relatable revelation that would soon capture the hearts of onlookers worldwide. The highly anticipated New York City premiere of the Odyssey on July 14th became the ultimate stage for this collision between hyper-polished fantasy and raw human reality. As the crowd gathered outside the venue, the air hummed with excitement for a film that had already captured the global imagination through its massive promotional tour. When the star of the evening finally arrived, the scene transformed into a whirlwind of blinding camera flashes and collective gasps from the audience. Stepping onto the carpet, Zendaya commanded the space in an avant-garde ensemble that looked as though it had been pulled directly from a celestial dreamscape. She wore an angelic, ethereal gown paired with stunning feathery wings designed by the boundary-pushing fashion house Matières Fécales, an artistic choice that immediately solidified her status as a fearless style chameleon. The look was a masterclass in high-fashion storytelling, balancing a delicate, otherworldly grace with a sharp contemporary edge that left spectators completely spellbound. Every movement she made was captured by hundreds of lenses, documenting the dramatic interplay between the intricate textures of the garments and the theatrical lighting of the premiere. But as the initial shock of the breathtaking wardrobe began to settle, the focus of the online fashion community rapidly shifted downward to an even more daring element of her ensemble. On her feet were a pair of gravity-defying, heelless shoes that seemed to challenge the very laws of physics, forcing onlookers to look closer and wonder how such a design was even possible to walk in. The striking footwear immediately triggered a wave of nostalgia among pop culture enthusiasts, who quickly pointed out that these architectural wonders were deeply reminiscent of the iconic Giuseppe Zanotti heels that music superstar Taylor Swift famously wore at the 2015 Grammy Awards. This visual parallel sent shockwaves through social media platform feeds, as fans began zooming in on the high-resolution images to examine the incredible engineering of the shoes and compare the two historic fashion moments. But as thousands of users across the globe magnified the photographs to get a better look at the gravity-defying heels, they stumbled upon something entirely unexpected that completely redirected the course of the conversation. Instead of finding the perfectly smooth, digitally scrubbed, and artificially porcelain skin that typically populates official event galleries, they were greeted by the sight of genuine, unedited human skin. Through the crisp lenses of the agency photographers, the natural texture of Zendaya's legs was fully visible, showcasing the normal variations, subtle pores, and realistic tone that belong to any living, breathing person. For an internet audience that has been systematically conditioned to see celebrities as flawless digital statues, this sudden glimpse of unphotoshopped reality felt like a breath of fresh air in an otherwise suffocating landscape of artificial perfection. The revelation spread like wildfire, transforming a standard red carpet fashion critique into an emotional celebration of authenticity that resonated with millions of everyday women worldwide. The online reaction was instantaneous and deeply revealing of the collective exhaustion surrounding mainstream beauty standards. as people began sharing the zoomed-in images with a sense of profound relief and joy. One user took to social media to ask a poignant question that seemed to capture the thoughts of an entire generation, tweeting out to the world whether this was what normal, unphotoshopped women's skin actually looks like. Before adding that if society saw more images like this, we would all feel significantly happier about ourselves. Another commentator deeply echoed this sentiment, expressing a profound love for the unedited photographs, because they serve as a stark reminder of how the media continuously sells the public an idealized version of humanity that simply does not exist in the real world. They noted that these small, natural details are not flaws to be hidden away by digital editors, but are actually beautiful elements of real life that deserve to be seen and celebrated. The discourse quickly deepened as users began to articulate the broader societal impact of these unfiltered moments, emphasizing that one of the single best things modern celebrities can do for their audience is to occasionally remind the world that they are human too. By allowing their natural skin texture to be seen without the intervention of heavy digital processing, high-profile figures inadvertently expose the wildly unrealistic beauty standards that have dominated the entertainment industry for decades, effectively opening a vital door for everyday individuals to embrace their own bodies just as they are. This explosive wave of appreciation highlighted a growing tension between consumers and the media elite, illustrating a massive cultural shift where the public is actively rejecting the airbrushed illusions of the past. For years, the standard operating procedure for major Hollywood events involved a rigorous pipeline of post-production editing, where even the most candid snapshots were meticulously retouched to erase lines, shadows, and any sign of biological texture. This practice created a toxic feedback loop, forcing ordinary people to compare their everyday, unfiltered reflections in the mirror against an impossible standard of digital perfection that cannot even be maintained by the celebrities themselves without the help of software. The sudden, widespread celebration of Zendaya's unedited premiere photos demonstrated that the audience's hunger for reality has reached a critical mass, turning a simple lack of Photoshop into a radical act of self-love and cultural rebellion. The tension in the conversation grew as people began to question why the industry continues to work so hard to hide the very things that make humans relatable and real, sparking a much larger debate about the ethics of digital alteration in commercial media. As the images continued to trend globally, the narrative evolved from a localized fan reaction into a sweeping critique of the entire Hollywood glamour apparatus, forcing onlookers to confront the artificial nature of the images they consume daily. The intense focus on the normal texture of a celebrity's skin served as a mirror for society's deeply ingrained insecurities, revealing just how deeply the collective psyche has been impacted by decades of mandatory airbrushing. People began to realize that the anxiety they feel about their own skin texture is a direct result of a manufactured illusion, a commercial product designed to generate profit by making consumers feel perpetually inadequate. The unedited photos from the premiere functioned as a powerful antidote to this systemic issue, breaking the spell of the red carpet and showing that true beauty does not require the erasure of human biology. The growing momentum of this conversation set the stage for a deeper exploration of how this specific moment fits into a much larger, ongoing movement within the entertainment industry, where a brave new wave of content creators and fans are actively working together to dismantle the pristine, artificial facades of Hollywood once and for all. The viral sensation surrounding the unedited glimpses of the New York City premiere is far from an isolated incident. Rather, it represents the latest flashpoint in an escalating, systemic shift toward filter and Photoshop education that is actively rewriting the rules of modern celebrity culture. This groundswell of public demand for visual honesty found its footing earlier this year, following the iconic Vanity Fair Oscars after-party, an exclusive event whose unique, dramatic portrait lighting inadvertently became the epicenter of a massive online conversation. When an insightful article breaking down the specific mechanics of that evening's professional lighting setup went viral, it pulled back the technical curtain on how Hollywood constructs its illusions of eternal youth and flawless geometry. Seizing on this moment of widespread curiosity, a prominent digital educator known online as @VancityCaroline launched a viral content series dedicated entirely to analyzing what the star-studded attendees actually looked like when stripped of social media filters and aggressive digital alteration. By showcasing the raw, unedited press photographs from the event, the creator provided a vital public service, demonstrating to millions of viewers that behind the blinding flashes and the heavy layers of designer cosmetics lay beautifully authentic skin filled with natural creases, fine lines, and realistic textures that are completely normal for human beings of every age. The public reception to this unfiltered revelation was overwhelmingly positive, unleashing a wave of emotional gratitude from thousands of people who admitted they honestly and deeply needed to see those images to heal their own fractured self-esteem. This ongoing cultural movement matters immensely because it directly targets the root cause of a modern psychological epidemic, challenging a multi-billion-dollar beauty and media apparatus that has historically profited from the generation of personal insecurity. For generations, the entertainment industry has carefully guarded its secrets, maintaining a strict monopoly on perfection by ensuring that the public only ever consumed highly curated, heavily edited versions of reality. This systematic erasure of normal human traits created an environment where everyday individuals constantly measured their real-world appearance against a fictional standard, leading to widespread body dysmorphia, anxiety, and a profound alienation from their own natural features. However, the rise of dedicated digital literacy advocates and the sudden availability of unretouched agency photographs are completely democratizing the way society consumes media, providing viewers with the critical tools necessary to spot digital manipulation instantly. When a global icon walks a carpet and her real skin is allowed to exist in the public record, it breaks the toxic spell of commercial perfection, transforming the red carpet from a site of unrealistic comparison into an inclusive space of shared human reality. This transparency allows women and young people across the globe to recognize that their own pores, shadows, and natural skin variations are not cosmetic flaws to be desperately corrected, but are beautiful, healthy, and entirely normal expressions of living in a human body. The extraordinary journeys of the individuals at the center of these conversations further illustrate how deeply intertwined personal authenticity has become with modern stardom and cultural fluence. Emerging from the rigid structures of child stardom, figures who now dominate the global fashion and cinematic landscapes have systematically redefined what it means to be a contemporary icon by balancing high-fashion fantasy with a grounded, uncompromising humanity. Their willingness to step out in daring architectural masterpieces while simultaneously allowing the raw, unedited reality of their physical forms to be captured by the global press presents a revolutionary model of celebrity behavior that prioritizes artistic expression over artificial conformity. This courageous approach to public life sends a powerful, unambiguous message to the fashion industry at large, demonstrating that true style and presence do not require the total erasure of human biology to be considered iconic or breathtaking. By refusing to demand the systematic airbrushing of their public images, these modern leaders are effectively using their immense cultural platforms to advocate for a healthier, more compassionate relationship with beauty, proving that the most compelling thing a person can wear is their own unfiltered truth. As this movement toward total transparency continues to gain momentum, it forces traditional media outlets, luxury fashion houses, and public relations firms to completely reevaluate their historical reliance on heavy digital post-production. The overwhelming public adoration for raw, authentic imagery has made it abundantly clear that consumers are no longer passive participants in the consumption of manufactured illusions. They are actively demanding a radical evolution toward real representation. This groundswell of voice has sparked a fascinating dialogue across creative industries, encouraging photographers and editors to embrace the natural textures, diverse skin tones, and genuine physical attributes that make every individual uniquely compelling. The archaic practices of smoothing out every line, whitening every